Deputy Fergus O'Dowd.
I welcome this debate. 5 minutes is very short for such an important debate for everybody in the House. I think it's ridiculous that time is given to us. But however, that said, I think first of all I want to say the good things that are being done in tackling climate change by this government, and particularly in the transport area. And I think that the whole business of public transport in Dublin is being transformed and will continue to be transformed by the proposals in relation to Metrolink, Bus Connect and the DART expansion. I think it is truly transformational, and I would hope that it will obviously proceed with the consent of everybody. And I know there are issues in relation to Metrolink which have already been met by the National Transport Authority, who I praise for their commitment and their research and their capacity to listen and to change plans if needs be. I also welcome the fact that in my own constituency, and I live in obviously a constituency where an increasing number of people commute, the DART expansion to Drogheda will have a hugely beneficial effect, planned as it is, with new hybrid diesel trains which are being ordered. I think up to 500 carriages have been ordered at the moment by Irish Rail, which will come to Drogheda well in advance of the electrification of the line. I also think there's a new sense of urgency in this debate, which is really, we all see, hear and understand the views of young people. I was in a school this morning, primary school children, and all of the questions I got were actually about climate change and what was I doing about it. I welcome the involvement of young people in changing some of our views and in making sure that our agenda and our priorities are changing. One thing I think should change even quicker than all of those transport projects I referred to is the question of strategic park and ride facilities on our approach to cities, like on the Malahide Estuary, for instance, where I know there is a park and ride for, I think, 4,000 cars being planned. I think it should be fast-tracked, literally, so that you can connect from the Malahide Estuary in and out of the city as your time of work allows and demands. I know we have to avoid also the point which my colleague from Roscommon brought a very important point about rural versus urban, and I believe that we do not need to have this conflict in our society like the Yellow Vest problems in France, where rural communities up in arms or against increasing taxes, exactly what Mr Fitzmaurice or Deputy Fitzmaurice was talking about. And I believe it is by prior notice, consultation and by encouraging and supporting change, particularly in rural communities which are adversely impacted by the fact that they're in rural areas, that there isn't the density of population, that there isn't public transport there. And I welcome the government's commitment to our rural transport links. I don't know about Roscommon, but I know in places like Kerry, I think there are 40 or 50 buses running there every week at least, which are community buses, which allow and help and support people in the absence of a commercial or a bus air service to meet those needs. I would also make the point that those people living in rural communities or have to come into towns, they're very concerned by Deputy Timmy Dooley's commentary as a Fianna Fáil spokesperson on transport, when he questioned the veracity of the road network programme which is planned by this government, which is absolutely needed, and which, now I didn't interrupt you, but if you read his speech, you see in black and white he is questioning the roads programme. He is. Now, I think you may have a Roscommon edition of it. I have the Irish Times edition, and there's a bit of a difference between the two of them. I suggest you buy the Irish Times. While I have my minute left, can I mark the
Deputy O'Dowd without interruption?
Thank you. Put that man out. And let him go home by public transport.
You made your point.
What is that? His big diesel guzzling car. Come on now, let's be serious here. The issues about the new road programme, which Mr Dooley, when he is Minister, will inflict on communities, is the absence of essential roadworks, which are part and parcel of reducing our carbon footprint. Can I point to Mr Dooley to the Slane bypass, which is a hugely important topic for the people who live there, and that the east-west and the north-south improvements that will be made there. If he does not build that, it will damn those people forever to the danger and the delays that they presently have. Can I point out that the RD bypass, which would cost over €30 million, is also in doubt now as a result of Mr Dooley's promise. And whatever deal you do with the Greens or whatever deal you don't do with them or anybody else, there are essential road improvements such as the Julianstown bypass, which will significantly reduce travelling time and reduce carbon footprint. And the last point I'll ask here, can I say, I want to make this point very clearly. When the motorway through Gormastown was being built, there were 20,000 cars per day going through the village of Julianstown. It was built to take them off it. But guess what? Today, there are 20,000 cars per day still passing through that village. And the hold-up is there from morning to evening. And if they don't get the bypass, and if Fianna Fáil continue to oppose it, it will leave us in a serious problem. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Deputy. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Dowd.